and we're starting with the stream now. Alright guys, welcome to the first episode of Behind the Screens. This episode is the Founders Edition, so with me I have...
What order do you want to go?
All
right.
Jonah, you're supposed to be the man that's supposed to lead us.
No, he pointed at you first.
I pointed this way, so...
Okay.
But I don't know. On my screen, that's just pointing to the Discord people. On my friends.
I'll point this way. For me, down below is Alex. So Alex.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm one of the co-founders of Rutgers Esports. I manage the community tournaments and the volunteers when I was part of Rutgers Esports. Right now, I am currently unemployed, but I'm just chilling and doing what I can to get into esports again.
Great introduction.
All right. Shall I go next? All right. My name is Jacob Kupferberg. Some people know me as Coach within the Rutgers Esports community, and I played the role of treasurer of like a good portion of the Rutgers Esports thing, control all the money and stuff like that. Got us these shirts, and right now I'm doing a PhD over in Chicago for material science. So if you want to know about research and materials, I got you. All that shit.
All right, and our last guest.
My name is Adam Baugh. I am one of the co-founders of Rutgers Esports alongside these wonderful gentlemen and some other really, really passionate people. And I'm in the Global Sports Business Master's Program at Rutgers University. And at the moment, I am one of the East Regional Coordinators for TESPA.
All right, so that's for introductions. So let's get into what got you guys into... Wait. All right.
Who are you?
Oh, me?
Yeah, Jonah. This is the first episode.
How did I get here?
I'm kind of just Jonah. Like, I don't really know.
Come on, there's something about you.
I guess I'm the current coach for the D1 Overwatch team and the D1 CSGO team. I'm also a competitive manager within Rutgers Esports, and I kind of take an active part in all the different facets of Rutgers Esports, and I'm really interested in esports as a whole. And part of this, for why I'm here, is to start interviewing people and trying to figure out what it is that people behind the screens, which is what the title of this podcast or this podcast is, to figure out who those people are and what it is they bring into esports. So without another delay, as we've had before with all our technical issues, let's talk about what got us into esports. So for you, Jacob Kupferberg, Coach Jacob Kupferberg, what got you into esports?
I think it was Adam and my friend Ethan, who Noodle Mage, follow at Noodle Mage, Dr. Noodle Mage on Twitter. Dr. Noodle Mage on Twitter. He made the Rutgers Esports posters, a couple of them, the more artsy posters, not the graphic design ones.
Right.
But from what I remember, back in was it middle school, Adam?
No, high school.
Whenever StarCraft 2 came out,
2010, so that's high school.
My friend Ethan, he got a hold of a bootleg copy of StarCraft Wings of Liberty. And he was like, check this out, we gotta play this. And we would come over to his house and we'd be like trying to beat the AI, and we would just get smashed every time. And we were like, oh, this is so much fun, this is awesome. And then that kind of died down a little bit once we kind of got super salty. But then what happened is that one of them found out that there was actually competitive matches of this stuff being played, and we were like, oh, we gotta watch this. This is real cool. And then we started getting into like fighting games. We started watching that. I remember watching that in college, and those two things are what kind of got me into it. So it was mainly Adam and my friend Ethan that really got me into esports.
So it sounds like you have a lot of different games there you want to hit on for later. But for now, Alex, what got you into esports then? I remember you were like really big into League of Legends, if I'm right.
Yeah, I was. I forgot to mention it, but yeah, I was the League of Legends president and co-founder for it. But before that, I was playing a little bit of like really amateurish like League of Legends, and also I was coaching a lot of low tier teams to like some like trying to qualify for LCS before. But yeah, I think League was like my biggest step into getting my foot into esports with the coaching situation. But before that, I used to play a lot of other esports games, StarCraft, Dota 1, World of Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne. Like those are some of the games I used to play, and I just have been just really following esports for a really long time. Like I can name you some of like my favorite matches from StarCraft Brood War. Like it was an amazing time during then. But yeah, I would just watch a lot of YouTube videos and it'd be really interesting. So yeah, thanks to StarCraft, I'm here, I guess. But League really pushed me into the whole scene.
And what about you, Adam? Is it also the StarCraft story? Because I know, Coach, you got Coach into esports. So what got you into esports then?
So it's definitely a combination of things for me. So when I was in 6th grade, actually, like many people, I thought I was the greatest of all time at certain games. One of those games being Super Smash Bros. Mainly for the Nintendo. And I thought I was so good at this game that I challenged one of my summer camp counselors to a match. I was like, "You can't beat me in this game. Like, I promise you, I am the greatest of all time." And he's like, he's like, all right, back up. He was like, "Listen, I want you to go home and look up this guy named Ken. And if you think that you can beat Ken, then we'll play."
Oof.
So I go home.
Wait, did this guy think he was this Ken? Was your summer camp counselor?
No, it wasn't. It
It was
wasn't.
definitely
No, my
Ken,
summer
dude.
camp counselor was not Ken. I would have died if it was. But anyway, so I go home. Immediately I go to the computer. Start it all up. Back then we had those computers with those really, really long backs. No, it was not a fast computer. But I go on the early days of YouTube. This is like 2007. So this is like the dark. This is when it was still 4x3 instead of like 6.
Oh, those are the good days. Those are the good days, yeah.
That's when Nikihiga was still like the king of YouTube and like smashing them. Anyway,
Oh my God.
so I look it up. I look up like Ken, just trying to see what all the hype is about, because obviously this guy can't. And then the first match I ever watched is Ken versus C. Chris, game 1 of their MLG New York 2006 opener. And I'd never seen anyone play the game that way before. It like completely changed my life.
Like,
You probably played with like items on and everything. And
Well, that one wasn't, but I did play with items on at that time. Yeah.
so that's what.
Yeah, I didn't even know that there was things like wave dashing. I didn't know about short hopping. I didn't know about fast falling or L counseling. Any of that stuff. I didn't know about DI. I didn't know about teching. So when you see a match like that, especially in the context of Melee and its history, how important that set was, it was just incredible. And that's when I was like, okay, so this is a real thing. People actually play these games at a high level and they get paid for it. So then I started doing a little bit more research into it, found out about StarCraft Brood War in Korea. Even around that time, too, is when this Championship Gaming Series was a thing, for those of you who remember that, by DirecTV. I remember watching that on G4 TV. Shout outs to you guys if you remember that. G4 TV, real talk. But I remember watching that. But it was really what Jake was talking about in terms of our friend Ethan getting us into StarCraft that really reignited everything. Because we didn't own StarCraft, right? So Ethan's the one who had StarCraft. Mm-hmm. So when we weren't at his house, we couldn't play. And I wanted to play so bad that I ended up looking up YouTube videos on it. Same. And that's how I found about the IGN Pro League. For those of you who remember that too, the original IPL Season 1. That's when IGN, the famous video game site, was first getting into esports. Unfortunately, they're not so much anymore. But that's how I got my start. I started watching those videos as a way to precariously play because I couldn't play at the time, and that's how I got into the scene.
What did you tell your camp counselor after you watched the video? Like after you went home, looked it all up, and you watched it, did you go back and be like, I could do that. I could do that.
No. When I went back the next day, all I had for him were questions. I was like, how did he do that? What's this technique? How did he go from one stage to the other within 4 seconds? Without seemingly doing movement that's normal, but it clearly wasn't, because I would dash across the stage, but it would still take a lot of time for me to get there. How did he recover from doing an aerial to jump up and do another aerial to KO some? How did he do a Ken combo? All of these different things was just at that point, it was all about, this is something I need to learn more about. Mm-hmm. And I just asked him everything I could to learn more about it.
So you guys just kind of took this esports, this vision you kind of had of esports and this drive to be inside of esports, from StarCraft 2 and other games from Melee and fighting games in general. And you guys all happen to be at the same college, which is, Rutgers University.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So once you guys got there, I know that Rutgers Esports wasn't a thing until 2014.
Correct.
So what happened there? You know, the early 2013 phase. What led up to making Rutgers Esports, and what was Rutgers Esports founded on?
That's a good question. So, Alex, I'm going to let you describe what the League of Legends scene was like at that time, because I personally don't know until I went to that viewing party. So,
Okay.
what was it like there? Since you were already talking with Malav and everything.
So Malav, who's the other co-founder of League of Legends Club,
Shout out to
and
Malav.
also another co-founder for Rutgers Esports, he and I were part of the Rutgers League of Legends Facebook group, and we were told that there were meetings every Friday at the Cirque, at the current location right now. And my friend and I went there, and there was literally no one there. It was just me and him, and we just sat there, played one game, and then left. And then we were told that the League of Legends Club was shut down because of misconduct within the club. So it was shut
Toxic.
down.
Too
And
toxic.
Was it you or Malav?
yeah, and and then randomly this random Indian dude named Malav Patel decided to message me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I noticed you're posting a lot on Facebook about the Rutgers League of Legends meeting. Do you want to do something about it?" And we talked, we discussed, and we made a plan to try to reinstate the whole League of Legends scene at Rutgers, because it was pretty huge. Rutgers League of Legends is one of the biggest scenes at Rutgers right now. I think it would be a waste if we just didn't utilize that. So Malav and I, our first meeting was, technically our first meeting was the World Championship for 2014, and it was great. It was at like I wouldn't say it wasn't like at a theater or anything like that. It was at one of the apartment lounges, and we just sat there, put two monitors on with the same stream on, and we had to also like make sure that the streams were going at the same time, so the voices didn't like mix up. So that was a fun experience that we had to try to learn how to fix. But overall, the event was great. A lot of people came out to that. They found out about what Rutgers Esports was, and a lot of the veteran members of it were from that meeting. And I think that was one of the magical moments of Rutgers Esports. And then another random guy walked up to me named Adam Baugh, and also Malav, talked to us about starting something new, which is Rutgers Esports. Essentially, he really from what Adam tells me, he liked the way that I tried to include other games, like the whole Smash game. Like I brought in my copy or a GameCube for like Melee, and then because people were asking if there was going to be anything else, and I said I would bring something else to play with and things like that. And Adam randomly decides to bring his entire setup, his laptop setup, and play StarCraft right in the middle, and just play
True.
StarCraft during the entire viewing party. So,
Mhm.
Who's
I
gonna watch
think
League?
that really caught my eye. That like there's a lot of other gaming communities in Rutgers that we can really do something huge here. And Adam approached Malav and I about that, and later on we got more new members, founders specifically for a meeting in Malav's apartment, which was very interesting as well. And that's where it all started. Malav's apartment was the stepping stone into the Rutgers Esports creation, and it was an interesting one.
So it's
Ground
like a
zero.
conglomeration of all the different esports then. So for League of Legends to be founded, it joined in with Rutgers Esports, right? So there was Adam playing StarCraft 2 during this. You bought
Yeah.
you bought a GameCube for Smash so other people could play that. And then it
Yeah.
kind of all formed together.
Yeah, it was a little bit. There's like a little bit more to it, right? Obviously, we can't just jump from the world's viewing party to the meeting itself. So, basically, at that time, just like Alex described, there was the League of Legends scene. There was also the StarCraft scene, which, to my knowledge, it was the most prominent gaming community on campus. And when I say prominent, it's not like we were like having the amount of numbers that we have now. It was just more like that was the one that people knew about the most, and also in some ways our most successful in terms of competition. Because StarCraft for a time,
Yeah, that's
we were
right.
we were like unbeatable at
Mhm.
some points. We had one of the best 2v2 teams in like the world or something like that. But anyways, so the StarCraft scene is there. I was a part of it, but I had heard these things like at that time. That's when you heard like the urban legends about like the Lone Star Clash by the Rosen brothers, who are the founders of TESPA, back when they're at UT Austin, and they were like having these massive events where pro players are flying out and stuff like that. And how do they do that? How can we do something like that? And at that time, of course, I didn't quite understand event logistics. I didn't quite understand how you even accomplish those things. All I knew was if they can do it, I'm sure that there's some way that we could. And then I even started hearing like the little rumblings about the schools in California and how they were making a lot of progress. E.g., University of California, Irvine, even. And even at that time, I believe in 2014 was when Robert Morris University founded their varsity sports program. So there's a lot of big moves like being made. And I started to hear about all this, and I was just like, well, we have the StarCraft community, we have the League of Legends community, and we even had the Dota community at that time as well. Shout outs to Aiden. He was developing that as well. And in my eyes, I was just like, well, why are we all separate? Why are we all like in our own like separate islands and not interacting and working together? That makes no sense. Because we're all united under one gaming. Now, granted, at the time, there's also UGS, the Underground Gaming Society, and they like handled a lot of fighting games and stuff like that. And we did offer them to join, but the president at the time said that the club wasn't meant for what we were trying to do, so they never joined initially. But basically, I went to this viewing party. I saw Alex there. I met Malav there for the first time. Alex set up a Melee tournament on the spot, which impressed me a lot. Also, at that time, I realized how terrible I was at playing Melee on a non-CRT monitor. But anyway, I talked to Malav, and because this is the World's Viewing Party in Korea, the World's Viewing Party was at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Right. So it's like super duper late. Yeah. And when I approached Malav, I'm just like, are you the League of Legends president? Like, yes, I am. So I'm just like, okay, I need to talk to you about it. So we talk about like for like 30 minutes. And even before this, I'd spoken to Zaid Kume, who's another co-founder. He was the original president of StarCraft, because at this time, I'm the VP. And Zaid was just like, I think that you should do this, but I'm not going to like be the lead on it. I think you should be the lead. He like really, really pushed me to start this. So I talked to him a lot for like 30 minutes. And literally the only words he said after this 30-minute speech was, all right, let's do it. So from there, we started contacting the other gaming presidents. Like we said, the UGS, they declined, unfortunately. We spoke to Aiden at Dota. We also spoke to some people at Smash Club. And Zaid at that time was kind of the pseudo representative for Counter-Strike. We didn't have anyone else for... Oh, we did have someone for Hearthstone. I forgot. Alex, remember Samuel Glusberg? Yeah. He was our guy for Hearthstone. So we got a whole bunch of these communities together. And then we had that meeting at Alex's apartment for probably like 2 or 3 hours, just trying to figure out what we wanted to do and stuff like that. I'm sorry, Malav's apartment. And we kind of just went from there. It was like what you said, Jonah, where it was like a conglomeration. It was like all these different gaming communities coming together and saying, we should work together. We should make something better for the entire Rutgers and the entire esports community overall. And it kind of just went from there, I guess.
So from there, you have this meeting, right?
Yep.
And I noticed you didn't mention coach in this. So where in this whole setup did you come in, coach? Where did you really enter the scene?
Where was I? What year was this?
2014.
Fall 2014. Fall 2014.
Sophomore year. All right. So at that time, I was exiled to the quads, over in Livingston campus, and I was kind of in the throes of trying to figure out of like a bad relationship, a bad breakup, trying to figure out not bad, but it just wasn't.
It's a breakup.
Besides the point.
It's a breakup.
Besides the point.
Yeah.
Besides the point. Doing an engineering major, trying to figure out like what to do, switching majors and stuff like that. So I got a lot on my plate right now. And I wasn't super involved with Rutgers Esports. The club I was involved with was martial arts. One of these days, I guess, Adam invites me to come to StarCraft Club, I guess, because he's starting to, get involved in things like that. And I'm like, oh, I like StarCraft. That's fun. Let's do that. And I think Jen might have been there. But what happened was that, it was really fun. I enjoyed myself. And then, it just kind of spun out from there. I just kind of got involved, and I didn't know what Adam was doing per se with Rutgers Esports. I thought he wanted to become like a pro StarCraft player at the time, something like that.
I think we all had aspirations of being a pro at that time.
Who doesn't want to be a pro? I mean,
yeah. But he gave up on that pretty quick because it was like,
true. My wrist started hurting too much when I was playing.
But basically, I think where I came into the Rutgers Esports stuff was when we had our first event, which was like, or actually maybe a little bit before then. I guess I sort of started coming with Adam just to back him up on like various meetings for Rutgers Esports and stuff like that. But really, I came into play when we had our first event, which was kind of like really bootleg. It was in the Livingston Student Center. We just kind of threw it together. We had people on screen, and it was nice. It was small, homey, and it was really fun. And I was just running back and
Scarlet
forth.
Classic 1? Is what you're referring to?
That was Scarlet Classic 1.
Yeah.
Because a lot of new people are coming in now, and they actually, were there for Scarlet Classic 4, which, their 4th annual LAN now, since this was 2014 back in the day, right? So, like, tell me, what was Scarlet Classic 1? Because everyone saw Scarlet Classic 4. It was this huge event. We had about 800 people there. We had live streams hitting 3K on Twitch. We had all the sponsors, all those amazing sponsors. We had tournaments, grand finals for every single game you could think of out right now, and we even had a giant attendance of Smash, like 200 entrances for players. So where did that start? What was Scarlet Classic 1 like?
Alex, you want to talk about Scarlet Classic 1, Alex?
What happened?
You want to talk about that?
Scarlet Classic 1 was the event of Rutgers Esports. You had to be there. You had to be there.
It was good. It was a good time.
So where it was a few weeks ago was the College Ave Student Center.
Right.
The Scarlet Classic 1 was at the Livingston Student Center. But so we had the entire NPR, right? The really big one.
Yep.
Right.
And then we had the glass room, the
code study room
or whatever. Yeah, and that room was specifically going to be for Smash, and then the rest of the LAN was going to be inside of the Livingston. So it's quite big. It has a lot of space in it, especially for first event. I thought it was going to be all right, but suddenly that was also the weekend or the whole week of when X Focus decided to stop by Rutgers and try to cause a lot of problems.
Do you know the story behind that? What happened?
Do you know about OG X Focus, Jonah?
Who's OG X Focus? Because I know, but I don't think everyone else knows.
Oh, it's a good point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Tell the people.
So OG X Focus is some angry. Well, he was found out to be an angry Rutgers student that decided to basically destroy the entire internet at Rutgers. Basically making it unusable within the Rutgers system. Everything else worked fine, but all Rutgers services did not work. The internet, their own websites, it just didn't want to work at all. And obviously, when you play a lot of these games that we play are online based. League of Legends was affected the most, but the Valve games. League of Legends was affected the most. CS:GO and Dota 2 were fine because they can have their own LAN server, so that didn't affect it as much. And also Hearthstone I think was fine because I think that's when mobile came out. I don't remember, but I think it was able to work at that event.
Yeah, you could play like a tablet, right?
Yeah. So what happened during that event, so a lot of the Smashers were complaining that the collaborative study room was way too small because it is pretty small. So we decided just to move them into the venue, the LAN venue to play, and it worked out pretty fine. And basically, Scarlet Classic 1 was basically a Smash event.
Yeah, pretty much.
Essentially, it was. But we tried our best to accommodate to the people that did come out to play these online games, and it really sucked that that we couldn't give a good first impression because of that problem. So
yeah, so there's that. I mean, and Jonah touched on some good things too about how at Scarlet Classic 4 we had like Artist Alley, we had all these corporate partners, we have all these streams. For Scarlet Classic 1, I think we had to stream, but again, it's kind of hard to stream when there's like we're getting DDoS. So the people who actually saved us, and I want to make sure I say this, I want to give a big shout out to Parimo Gaming. They actually came out of nowhere, and they were just like, hey, we're here just for the event, and they saved us because they streamed our event because they had like I think mobile internet or whatever, like 4G stuff. So we were able to stream some of the event through them. Now keep in mind though, this was still a disastrous event by all. Alex, do you remember when we did CS:GO on stage? And they played one match and then we kicked them off the stage. So they had played it upstairs. I remember that.
Yeah, that was a lot of the games had to do that for time reasons because I think the reason was because we were gonna get kicked out or something, or we just had to accommodate for all the games to be played at one time, and a lot of games got like got really
Got the short end of the
short end of the
stick, so to
stick.
speak.
Yeah. So it was just like really unfortunate.
And CS:GO and Dota were the only ones that were able to be played because obviously you can play those games. I believe we managed to get StarCraft 2 in there as well. I don't know how we managed to do that, but we did.
That might have been in the beginning before the DDoS.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. So there was that, and then even beyond that, in terms of corporate partnerships, I know at this time we had already set up our connections with Twitch and Tespa, but I think like the winners of League of Legends, Alex, what did they get? Like water bottles or something? Like from Tespa? I forget. Like we had nothing for them, but we did actually. I just remembered this for Squad Classic 1. We did get trophies. We did get trophies. I remember that.
Trophies? We didn't even get trophies.
I remember that.
There were some nice trophies too.
Yeah, we got some nice trophies. There were medals too. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Bring back the trophies, guys. Bring back the trophies. So that's like kind of like how Squad Classic 1 unfolded, you know. So like going backwards in time, so to speak. So like during all of this, like, you know, from Scarlet Classic 1 to 4, besides the events, what is it that you guys like kind of did during the, you know, that time gap, that 4-year time gap?
Scarlet Classic 2, that was he also came back, didn't he? X-Focus came back or something.
No, Scarlet Classic 2, the problem was not X-Focus. The problem with Scarlet Classic 2 was our own incompetence.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I try to not remember. I actually do not remember Scarlet Classic 2.
I don't remember that either. Wait, where was it?
It just flew by.
Jake, you're the one who made the recap video for Scarlet Classic 2, remember? It was at the College F Student Center.
Oh.
I do not remember that.
He wasn't
at all.
there. He wasn't there. He doesn't remember.
You made the recap video for it.
Wait, what? Wait.
Oh, that was Scarlet.
That was Scarlet Classic 2?
Yeah.
Remember with like. Oh, right.
He
That was
doesn't even.
Oh, wait.
That was the hot show match, right? I remember. Wait, was it?
No,
Okay,
no, it wasn't.
No, that wasn't.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Yes, Jake, what are you going to say?
So I made the video for that.
Yes, you made the video
That
for
was
it.
Scarlet Classic 2.
That was Scarlet Classic 2.
That was where the Smash 4 people got salty at me.
Yes.
Okay. I remember it now. Oh, wait, and Scarlet Classic 3 was in the Bush Student Center. That's right.
No, Scarlet Classic 2 was not in the Bush Student
No,
Center.
come
on,
Oh,
Coach,
three, yes.
No,
3
he
was at the
was.
Bush Student Center,
There
yes.
he was.
So,
yes.
posted of the video you made, Coach, in the chat. Here, I'll look at it. Discord.
I can't check the chat. I don't have it up.
I'll
All
link
right.
it.
Anyways, so Scarlet Classic 2, man, that was another event where it was just like we did not. I think we planned that event in less than a month. It was like literally one of those things where we didn't do much in the fall, and I'll always say that was my fault because I was like very, very distracted. But it was really one of those things where spring semester came around. We're like, so guys, we're gonna do an event this semester, and they were like, yeah. It was like, okay, when? How about next month? I was like, okay. Like it was just not planned well at all. Like we didn't.
I don't even know what happened. Like we just forgot or something happened. I think we were just all focused on our own like clubs at that point.
Yeah, we just
and things like that.
We were just busy. That's all.
So here was part of the issue. So one of them, for those of you who don't know, during the first year, even though we didn't have a formal president, the person who really pushed us was Aiden Dispenza, who had a lot of experience with working with HackRU and USAC. And unfortunately, during our junior year, he kind of like really withdrew not only from us, but also kind of the general Rutgers Esports community for a lot of like really, really big personal issues that he had to deal with. So without him driving us, if I'm completely honest with you, it was mostly Malav just yelling at us to get things done.
Oh, no.
And none of us.
I thought Malav was a jerk.
Yeah, and none of us got anything done. I remember to this day, Jake and I would make fun of Malav because do you remember that one time, Jake, when we were at a meeting and Malav was like, "Can you believe like it's like you guys have no idea how hard I'm working this semester."
I only got like 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, he was like, "I only got like 8 hours of sleep a night," and then Jake just started laughing.
Oh, because at the point I was like in full-on engineering mode. I was like not
8
getting
hours
any
of
sleep.
sleep.
That sounds like a good amount of sleep. That sounds like a
Not like this.
Not from Malav. Malav needs his beauty sleep. You don't know.
Malav needs a
get it,
good
man.
like 12 hours. I think. Knowing Malav, he needs a good 12 hours.
He's like
It
a
was so
cat.
funny. It was so funny because like Jake immediately like went off.
I had
Anyway.
no sympathy.
So
No sympathy.
besides those Scarlet Classics like 1 and 2, what did you guys like really do at Rutgers Esports? Like what was it that was, you know, Rutgers Esports was about?
Sure. So I think there's a lot of things. Alex, I know you and Malav did a lot of stuff for the League of Legends Club, so definitely touch on like the concentrated efforts that you guys had for.
I think we did a lot. Like Adam said, we did a lot of based things. We had a lot of viewing parties for LCS finals, worlds, and we tried to really grow the League of Legends. I guess the League of Legends like community, because there are a lot of Rutgers League players that even currently right now, not a lot of them go to club, which is fine. But I think a lot of people just didn't know who we were, and even with Rutgers Esports, they just didn't know that we existed at that time. So I try to focus on a lot of engagement with like just a lot of just different clubs and just making a lot of posts here and there, trying to make a well-defined team. But on my part, what I did was I tried to also push on the whole competitive scene for Rutgers League of Legends. I was the head coach, and I also developed the competitors division for League of Legends there. And because League of Legends was getting a lot of traction from a lot of different organizations, especially CSL, Riot also made it, like their main one. There was Ivy LOL, things like that, and it was a really good time when I tried to lead that. And I think I was a little too focused on that, and also trying to community manage the League of Legends group, that I didn't really think too much about Rutgers Esports. Honestly, I was just really focused on the whole trying to grow our like small columns up into making like a bigger community later on. So yeah.
So that's like kind of the foundation, because Rutgers Esports is kind of built on those individualized clubs, right? So
Right.
During that time, you did the competitive scene for League of Legends, and for that we have to thank what is currently like the ULOL team that we have and the ACL team we have. So right now, for those of you who don't know, Rutgers Esports have a ULOL team, which is competing in the Big Ten network, and we also have a team which won ACL. So we have lots of different competitive League of Legends teams within Rutgers Esports right now. I believe the total number is 7 or so. So you're really the one that started competitive League of Legends at Rutgers then?
Alex.
Wait, hello? Okay.
Alex. Talking
No,
You good?
to you.
You got us?
1 second. Okay. Oh, sorry. Something clicked.
All good.
I
So
said-
you
I said
you
something
just
clicked.
started Rutgers like League of Legends competitively, right?
Yeah. So basically, we did have competitive League of Legends players at that time, but they weren't really, I guess, well known. It was just like a ragtag team of random like high diamond players at that time, like Quan, Kanav, Billy Boss, things like players like them. They got together, and because they just knew each other through the initial portion of like when they came to Rutgers, they just found each other, and they just started a team and played in the initial collegiate leagues for League of Legends. And I wanted to take part into that. They were kind of whatever on the whole thing, so I didn't want to push them to join us. So I decided to like start up a new like initiative to bring in a lot of newer players into the Rutgers League of Legends, the competitive scene. So I recruited a lot of, even like right now, a lot of the current members of the youth team, ASO, AVGL, blah blah blah. I coached them in some ways. I put together their teams, and because of that, they are currently still working together and trying to become the best teams in the nation right now. And so I guess I wanted to start like a completely new division of just players and grow them out. So
Yeah.
that was my plan.
So that's what you were doing for Rutgers Esports. I mean, the thing is that with Rutgers Esports, they come together and have these events, right? But if you split them up, kind of, they're still their own standalone communities then. So League of Legends is able to stand by itself there by growing. So like, what were some other parts? If you guys, I know StarCraft 2 is still big right now. It has like huge retention rates in terms of Rutgers Esports. It has like, the club room is always filled with people. They're always running around. I mean, that culture you guys kind of set up, I believe that's thanks to Coach and Adam and Zaid was his name you mentioned?
Yeah,
too?
Zaid.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that went into that. Phil's another guy up there that definitely helped us. Phil, Carnage,
Donskoy.
So and maybe you can feel free to add anything that you want, Jake, about this. But
You got it.
at the time, right? So like I said before, StarCraft was very, very competitive. When I say very competitive, like I mean like the meetings weren't actually meetings. They were just like you play ladder in the same room as other people. Like that's what
scrimmages.
it was like.
That
It
sounds
was
fun.
very, very competitive. And it wasn't even like people were friends. It was just more like, oh, I did better on ladder than you did. Like, oh, I have a higher rank on the NA ladder than you do now. Kind of And it was like really good in terms of our competitive results. But from what I've been told, it was also very like cutthroat, and not a lot of people. It wasn't very welcoming to newcomers.
It's completely
and
different now. Like StarCraft
yeah, it's completely
Club right
different.
now.
We don't even play StarCraft.
They don't even play StarCraft.
Exactly. So Zaid, he really kind of pushed for a change because he felt like it was very alienating for people to come in, and he's the one who really kind of pushed I guess the casual atmosphere of, hey, you can come here, you can play StarCraft, and we'll teach you the game. But it's more like this is just a gaming club where people can come out and play whatever games they want, and also where we're going to emphasize a lot more things other than the game. So it's because of Zaid that we started going to places like Sushi Palace. We started going to places like Picnic Garden for Korean barbecue. It's because of Zaid that we went to on certain esports trips like Red Bull Battlegrounds in New York.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that might have been our first real esports event. Actually.
That was our first real esport. Changed our lives for sure.
Changed the game, dude.
Yeah, changed us forever. But it was his kind of like pushing of that, and then when he graduated, it was myself, Jake, and Phil who kind of took up the mantle, and we had a very, very like it was almost like a what's the word? Open talk, like a fireside chat with the entire club, and we were just like, hey guys, like we're the new leadership. What are all of you looking for? What do you want us to do? And they were very, very frank and open with what they wanted from us. And even though the competitive side of StarCraft still did exist, we still had a CSL team. It was a lot of like us just hanging out. So we would play a super fight. I remember us playing that a lot. We had other board games like Cards Against Humanity that we played. It was just very, very casual, and it was a lot more about the people that were there and making sure that everyone had a good time, and that letting them know that you actually cared about who they were and stuff like that. Just talking to people.
It was all about developing this little community, this little family that we had, which Zaid started and Adam really emphasized on doing, because I would come in, I didn't play StarCraft at all. I just come in and hang out with people. And we'd have other people that come in, they'd never play StarCraft. Sometimes they wouldn't even play games, but we'd have people just coming in and out from even like different clubs as they started to grow bigger. Malav would just come into our club because he'd be like, they're all playing League in there. I'm not playing League right now. Let me just hang out in StarCraft club.
Not ever. I mean,
ever,
he never played League. Let's be honest.
It was a very rare sight for sure.
And it was actually interesting because StarCraft wasn't the focus. Like we didn't have like people like, okay, this is like what we have to do. We have to do scrimmages and stuff like that. We have to queue up and things. Because of that, we started getting people that would just come in and play random games.
Yeah.
Like CS:GO or Hearthstone. And so StarCraft kind of became this little incubator chamber from which new clubs were born. So like I think we grew like Overwatch out of there, CS:GO. We grew
Hearthstone.
like Hearthstone.
For a time, Dota was with us. Same thing with League, even that.
I guess because we were like the matriarch club.
Yeah.
We kind of had that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just did everything we could because the way Jake and I and Phil, we all agreed that like the games come and go, right? People can play games anywhere, right? So people come for the games, and that's fine and dandy. But what's going to make them stay? It's not the games that's going to make. What's going to make them stay is the relationships they build, the friendships they build, the people who are there. Like, oh, are you going to club on Friday? Yeah, I'm going to club on Friday. All right, I'll be there. You know what I mean? That's what's really going to get people to stay. It's not them being able to play StarCraft every week. And they can play StarCraft every week in their dorm. It doesn't matter. What matters is the friends that they made. And we did everything we could to cultivate those friendships. I remember one of the first movies you went to see as a group was Kingsman, the original Kingsman, the Secret Service.
Oh,
yeah. I remember watching that, and that was like a big thing for us. I remember doing other stuff too. That it was just a lot of us trying to cultivate those friendships. But I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on it, Coach? Anything that you saw that?
I mean, really,
like
we just tried.
Significant?
We just tried. I mean, we had the advantage because our club was kind of smaller and close knit, and people kept coming back. We had a lot of retention, but we just kind of made people feel like we just did our best to make people feel at home and whatnot, and just kind of make it like just a fun time. Because the fact is, we're there on a Friday night, right? Like, the bottom line is that these people aren't going out and partying and stuff like that. They, maybe otherwise they're like a lot of engineers. Maybe they'd be doing homework or something like that. Because we gave them a community to come and hang out to. People look forward to coming on Fridays. People would ask me like, "Oh, what are you doing on Friday?" And I'm like, "I'm going to StarCraft Club." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's what I want to do."
Yeah,
it's like the place to be. You should come. and like I would bring people, just random people, just to come by, and they're like, it's not my scene, but it's cool,
Yeah, it's like a fun family place.
Fun family place,
Fun
yeah.
family place, basically.
Yeah, bring your kids.
Wait.
Bring your grandma.
No
Oh,
minors
it's
allowed
always-
at Rutgers Esports clubs.
It was kind of funny sometimes because we had to fight with like this Chinese Christian fellowship.
I remember
like,
that.
space sometimes.
Shit, yeah.
I
They're just
remember
still there. They're
If we
still-
didn't like take our spot immediately, they would just come and fill everything up.
Hmm.
But
They'd
the
always
funny
do
thing
Bible
is,
study.
yeah, Bible study. The funny thing is, sometimes every now and again, we'd have like somebody, like one of the guys would like walk across, he'd like look in and come in, and we're like, come on in, and he'd be like, wow, this looks really fun.
Yeah,
And
I
then
remember
like
that
his
too.
wife or somebody would like pull him out, like, come on, we have to go.
We need to study. We need a Bible study. Let's go.
Yeah, we
Let's
gotta
get
go.
So it's like Rutgers esports in general is this kind of thing that brings people together, and then you really stay there for the people, for the environment, for the family, and the fun aspect of it. So
Yeah.
what are some of those games that besides StarCraft that really brought you guys together? Because I mean, you guys have the StarCraft, right? And then you have
Right.
let's say you have like the Street Fighter Ken versus PC Chris.
Yeah.
So what are some of those other games, some of those storylines? What really like bought it home for you guys in terms of esports?
I'll let you take this one, Alex, because I know how much of a historian you are for esports in a lot of ways. Like, what were the storylines that really grabbed you?
What kept you coming back?
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh,
I know one.
Now, keep in mind this is the professional side, but keep going.
Yeah.
Got it there.
I don't know. Like when I think of like a crazy match or anything like that, there's just so many to narrow it down. Especially in StarCraft like Brood War days, like there's way too many good matches to like recall, and it's I want to like name them all, but we'd be here for another like 3 hours. Or something like that.
Describe
Just,
one, because I don't really watch StarCraft, and I assume most people don't really know too much about StarCraft. So try to explain like one really epic, one really like good moment, and I'll see
Describing.
I remember one.
Go ahead, Jake. Are you
Okay,
going to talk
yeah.
about what happened at Red Bull New York? Please tell me
Yes.
to talk about Red
Oh,
Bull.
maybe not at Red Bull. Was that with Scarlet?
Yeah, that was Red Bull New York,
Yes, that was
2013.
it. Did you see that, Alex?
I didn't go any of the
So-
things.
I was only at StarCraft.
So one of these matches. So let me lay the groundwork for you. StarCraft has been historically dominated by Koreans.
Okay.
It's their game. Nobody can touch it. To the point where if you're referring to a foreigner in StarCraft, that
Uh-huh.
refers to somebody who is not from Korea. So that's the kind of world we're living in, and they just dominate everything. And
Mhm.
people will go to Korea to train, and they do pretty well, but we
It's
we
like
don't
League of
have
Legends
like.
right now. It's like League of
Say
Legends.
what?
Right now. It's like League of
Yeah,
Legends.
it's
right
like
now,
League of
right?
Legends in that.
Oh, is League like that too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are there other things that I know? They probably dominate Overwatch too, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're an NA team now. They've been purchased by an NA organization.
Yeah, they've been spread out throughout all the teams and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Anyway,
But
keep going.
basically, so we have this one player or two players that I think was Idra at that match.
Idra was not at Red Bull New York.
Okay, so we have one that we're following, Scarlet.
Uh-huh.
She's a Canadian player and she plays
Right.
Zerg and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it just looks like we're like, okay, this is our last hope. All the foreigner players are out. Like, this is it. It's just 5 Koreans and Scarlet.
Yeah.
So we're just hoping on her. And all of a sudden, like, the chips are down. She's about to lose. The guy's about to destroy her base. All of a sudden, she puts down like a bunch of banelings underground, which are basically landmine units.
Hmm.
And the guy takes his whole big army, the Korean player, and he like walks it over there, like trying to find her. Doesn't realize, and all of a sudden he blows it all up, and he destroys the entire army. And we're like, oh my god! Like that's the moment that all Zerg players wait for, is that juicy baneling destroy. And it's just, did she win after that? I can't remember.
She won that match. She did not win
Yeah.
the tournament.
That's
She won
really
that match.
cool. I mean, Scarlet. It's like Scarlet Red. It's like Scarlet like Scarlet. Like Scarlet Red for Rutgers University almost. It's like it's almost symbolic of like.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's what made us. Yeah, that's what drove us to make Rutgers Esports so big. Really was that one moment was Scarlet. She did it.
Scarlet, we have thankful for Scarlet. She's the founder. She's the true messiah.
Why haven't we like gotten her to come to like one of our events?
Well,
in
it's
Korea.
Canadian.
Doesn't matter.
No, I mean, as in it'd be hard for her to come out. She'd have to fly.
Don't worry, I'll write it down for next year. I'll write it down for next year.
Yeah, we get like a woman panel. People always want that woman panel for esports. She'd be great for that.
Yeah. So I wrote down, or I posted a link, Jonah, just so if you want to see it later of that play. But it was incredible. It really, really was. I remember like everyone popped off. I immediately screamed. I like jumped up. I wanted to like hit someone with a chair. That's how hype I was. Like it was very hard to calm us down. And you have to keep in mind too, this is the first time that we've ever been to an esports event, right? So it's like this clash of worlds, right? So you've been watching all these players for so long and watching them online, and then you actually see them in person. I walked up to MC, one of the greatest Protoss players of all time. I shook his hand and he spoke to me. I had a conversation with multiple different people in terms of the players that were there, the casters that were there, everything like that. And Jake saw Total Biscuit, someone that he's a very, very big fan of. That was really cool too. So for the first time, right, there's not this glass wall, you know what I mean? Like where we're only watching, we're actually interacting with these people and they're actually talking with us and treating us like we're people who are worth their time, which is so important.
It's like behind the screens, you can reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, exactly.
You might get kicked out, but you can do it.
Exactly. But Alex, have you thought of the storyline that you want to highlight?
I guess I'll name one StarCraft one and one League one, because StarCraft is like the first like thing with me. Is that my favorite player of all time in esports, well, maybe in esports, but in StarCraft specifically, was Flash. He was by far the greatest player to have ever lived to play StarCraft. Even in StarCraft 2, like I thought he was still like really good.
He was pretty good.
I don't think he was as dominant, but for obvious reasons. But watching Flash was like the craziest like things he would do. Like he would just out mind game, out talent people, and it was just the craziest, and it was just so fun to watch. And whenever he played Jaedong, who was also like the other greatest StarCraft Brood War player of all time too, at that time, whenever you see them play, it was just like watching two titans clashing together, and it was just like the most phenomenal sets you would watch, and it'd be so sick. Like they just really enjoyed playing against each other, and they wanted to really show up to one another, because
like a classic rivalry, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
they were friendly with another and things like that. So they admired each other's talents, and they wanted to show up who's the best. But I guess the most more in League of Legends specifically, the most recent actually no, it was 2015 or 2016 Worlds. It was at MSG. I went with my girlfriend, Jen, and some other Rutgers students, and we went to the MSG semifinals, and it was between Rocks Tigers and SKT, and that was probably the most insane like live match I've seen to this day. And both teams were just playing phenomenally. Rocks Tiger was just out mind gaming them, but they couldn't really like play the entire 5-game set, because it showed that they were really tired and they weren't really like set up for that, because SKT at that time were on their like high horse, and they were just about to win their next title. And Rocks Tiger, they had like a long history of not being able to beat them because of just pure skill or things like that. And it was really close at that point, and I think Rocks Tiger almost had the chance to basically overthrow the Kings at that time, but it never really happened. So
what was the atmosphere like that in there?
It was insane. Everyone was on their feet. They were waiting for the next like big play. People were just anticipating the sickest like mind games out of all the like players. They were waiting for people just to pop off and trying to destroy the enemy team. Like everyone was quiet at some points, just like watching, because they just wanted to focus. And then when something happened, the entire arena just stood up, jumped up, and just roared, and it was the craziest thing ever.
Shit.
And that's esports right there.
Yeah, if you haven't already seen an esports event, I mean, go check one out, because like you'll be on your feet, you'll be standing up in this stadium. I mean, right now,
smacking dongers together.
you got the two little panel things, right, that say like League of Legends on them and whatnot.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should bring back StarCraft, because I mean, RTS, those types of games, like we need to bring those back, because I feel like 1v1s are so like, you know, so fun to watch. I mean, nowadays we have like Overwatch, we have CS:GO, we have Dota 2, we have, you know, League of Legends now, but we don't really see that one-on-one anymore, except for in Smash, really.
Yeah, I get but it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah. So that being said, like, what's some of your guys' like favorite favorite, like, nowadays, like, now that StarCraft 2 isn't as popular, where is the audience shifted towards now, do you think? Or what games do you like watching nowadays? When you have time.
I like watching everything, man. If I'm completely honest with you, like there's no esport that I'm like, I don't really want to watch that. Even for League and Dota, considering like the technical knowledge that you need to have in order to really understand what's going on. Even then, like I'm okay with watching those. Obviously, I have my go-to favorites of watching StarCraft Brood War, and Super Smash Brothers Melee, and lots of fighting games. Like I love watching fighting games, but I like watching everything. Like Jonah, we were there at the E-League Major. We saw history.
Crazy.
Like that's quite literally one of the greatest esports moments of all time, and we saw it live.
What happened? What happened?
It was a
when
Cloud9 beat
Cloud9
FaZe to win the E-League Major. It's like, think of, the Miracle on Ice that people talk about, Jake, between the Russians and the US at the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's basically what that was. Like Cloud9 winning was a miracle.
Yeah.
That
Nice.
should not have happened, but it did, and it was incredible that it happened.
Yeah, I was standing
but-
up for so long during that event. It literally
Yeah.
could not sit down because everyone in the entire arena was cheering USA. It was actually incredible because NA hasn't won like a major title in CS:GO in like 10 or so years until that point.
Really? Who's
Yeah.
winning?
All the
What's it
Europeans
called?
are winning, so
Europeans
Oh.
win. Europeans dominate Counter Strike.
I thought that was our game.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What happened?
The last title that we won in Counter Strike was probably by Complexity back in like 2005, 2006.
Oh,
Yeah,
Long
that
time.
was some really old stuff right there.
Yeah,
A major
that's
title.
old school.
Minors are minors, but major
Yeah.
title. This is
Yeah,
by far the only one they've won.
Some
Cloud9
old
came close like 3 times. They came second all those 3 times, but yeah, this is the only thing that's actually ever happened.
mhm.
yeah. I would say the only esports that NA had like dominates historically are Marvel vs. Capcom, Super
yeah,
Smash Brothers Melee, I guess Smash 4 too technically, and what's it called? Call of Duty. Call of Duty and Halo were pretty good at as.
So those are the kind of the games that NA kind of does well in. But other
Yeah.
than that, I mean, you always have that cool NA underdog story. Everyone
sure.
likes to root for NA, especially against the Koreans, against the Europeans,
yeah.
in all these different games. And since we're talking about professional scene, let's hit back on collegiate scene now. So
Sure.
collegiate wise, I know you got involved in Rutgers Esports through Adam, and then Alex, you got involved through League of Legends. How would you say like the average Rutgers student can get involved now? Like what is it that they should be doing to kind of get active?
Just show up the club.
Show up the club, be a community, man. I think that's
Yeah.
like the biggest first step is that I think the biggest first step is that people should know who you are in not Rutgers Esports, but like if you want to make a name for yourself in the entire esports scene, there's a lot of people doing it right now. Esports is a growing like industry, and I think the biggest step is to really make yourself known, be the community man, be friendly with, I wouldn't say everyone, but like try to be the person that people need when they need someone to play games with, just to talk to, and just to chill with. And I think a lot of a community like head community leaders in the current esports scene do that very well. They're open to a lot of conversation. They like to chill with people. They like to talk to them, play games, do whatnot. And I think that's like the big step that you need to do in order to get into the esports scene right now.
Mm-hmm. What would you say, Jake?
I mean, just show up the club. I mean, if you want to get involved with Rutgers Esports community, just show up the club, show up to events. That's pretty much all you have to do. Just like, I mean, the community, you don't have to be there all the time. You don't have to be super committed to everything. You just got to take part in what you want to take part in. It's there. Might as well do it. That's the thing about Rutgers is that it's huge. So like, it's hard to miss. It's hard to get to these things sometimes. Very easy to miss. So, but I mean, everything is out there. All these communities are out there. You just got to find them. And if there's not a community for your game or whatever, you just kind of show up and start to reach out to people. Yeah, create one. That's a beautiful thing. We have the people. Bye.
Bye, Alex. See you later.
Bye, Alex.
Thanks for interviewing. Thanks for hopping on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Alex.
That's pretty much it. I mean, in terms of, but like to what Alex said, and I'm sure Adam can support this, is that Rutgers Esports is one of the organization itself. Working with it is one of the best ways that you can kind of get your foot in the door for the esports world industry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You get to meet a lot of people, you get a lot of real world experience, and it's a good time too. It's fun.
Yeah, totally.
Fridays are at Cirque, second floor right now.
I was about to say that. Jonah, please tell them about the Friday meetings. Yeah, the Friday meetings are really where I would say is the best way to support, because it's really just like what Alex said, coming out to play games. And I know it's really difficult for certain people. Like we talked at length about this, Jonah, in terms of like Counter-Strike having PCs that they're not just going to lug over all the way to the Cirque every Friday. And I understand that 100%. But a lot of it's just being active in the community. So talking with people, trying to play games. If you can't play CSGO offline, why not try and play it online with people every Friday? Doing stuff like that. That stuff is really like, it's a small thing, but it goes a long way. There's even more things that you could do. Obviously, going to events is one thing. Engaging with us on social media is also very important as well. We love talking to our community in general. And
donating to us.
I didn't say that.
Hit the sub button.
Hit the sub button, buying our merch.
Subscribe.
Those are all ways that you can support, but in terms of getting involved, it's really just about going to Friday meetings or engaging on our Discord, trying to start games there. And that's where you can kind of find your place. In terms of Rutgers Esports as a board, I'm sure that they're kind of revamping that, and that's a bit more complicated. But if you're just someone in the community that likes Rutgers Esports, that likes esports and wants to play games with other people, just come out on a Friday, and I'm sure someone like Jonah or someone like Jacob, someone like Diego, whoever, they'll come up to you, someone like Alice, and they'll just talk to you and try and help you out as much as you can, see how you can get involved in the community. They're 100% all there for everyone. That we're a very, very welcoming community. I'm sure Jonah, as someone who's on the current board, could tell you even more about that.
Yeah, I love talking to you guys about esports. I mean, I'll talk to the founders for hours and hours on end. I'll talk to literally anybody about any esport. It's one of the best things in life right now. Esports as a whole is definitely something that has a lot to offer. No matter what game it is you like, or like Coach said, it doesn't even have to be a game you like. You just show up and you just hang out. On Friday nights,
fun.
You could get dragged away from Christian Bible study too.
As tough as it could be.
Yeah.
As it's a strong draw, but esports is really fun.
It might be more entertaining than your Bible study on your Friday night. And
Maybe.
Other than that, we have events. Like I think we have events Thursdays. We have events on Saturdays too. And besides the Scarlet Classic, I mean, we hold other events too, like Fireside Open and fall friendlies, spring social. It's just a game charity event. So there's tons of things to stop by for, interact with. And if you want to join the board too and help make a difference for Rutgers Esports, you could either message the Rutgers Esports Facebook page or Twitter too. We'll be sending out applications for officers as well, and we'll be doing interview processes for people that want to get involved. And so before we dip out of here, does anyone have anything they want to talk about? Anything they want to say? Shout outs? Anything like that?
I love esports.
I just thought of this. How come we haven't, since we fight like the Big Ten teams, right? Like within like various esports. How come we don't do like wrestling style call out videos?
I talked about this with Jonah.
We talked about this too. Adam brought up the idea, and then I said I would take care of it, but we didn't have edit things and stuff like that. We were like,
what is wrestling style video? What is that?
It's gonna be like, hold on. It'll be like, I'm gonna take down like The Rock. You see, I'm gonna break him like a twig. He can't take me. I'll see you at like Monday Night SmackDown. All right, something like that.
So we would get like one of a Rutgers Esports player, right, for a game to like do that video
in a very comical way.
Yeah, very over the top, like Penn State. Nittany lion, more like a Nittany kitten. Like, I'm the knight. I'm the it's gonna be.
You can't Huskies like you can't piece of.
Yeah, it's like the knight.
Relax.
Holy.
Yeah, Alex. Any shout outs though for I know you hit on you have a Twitter, you do League of Legends coaching, you do Overwatch coaching, I believe, right?
I just want to give a quick shout out to all my friends, family, my girlfriend especially. It's just been a long ride to this point, and I guess I really wanted to get into esports. I wanted to take some time off of esports just to see if I can do something else with it. But I think right now my heart lies with esports, and I want to try to prove myself that I could do something with it. Whether it's coaching, being a manager, like doing something with my time of trying to make esports the esports that I want to see. So thanks again for everyone that's really supporting me, and I hope that I can make it to that point and make esports to the greatness that it is at every level of esports, amateur, like to like really grassroots to like even to the high tier, like league system, esports community. So yeah.
All right, Coach. Any words you want to say? Shout out to your material studies professor. Shout out to grad school.
Yeah. Shout out to Sam Stoop. No, I mean, shout out to @NoodleMage. Go follow Dr. NoodleMage on Twitter. My boy, he does all sorts of art stuff. Always gotta shout him out. I mean, thanks to Rutgers Esports for just being a good community, doing that thing, and making the last few years of Rutgers extra fun. I mean, I'm always bad at shout outs. All right, but shout out to you for setting this up, because I know it can be difficult to schedule everybody and stuff like that. So good on you, Jonah.
No, you guys are extremely easy to work with, honestly. The alumni are much easier to schedule than anything
glad.
right now, yeah.
I'm glad. We do what we can.
All we have is free time, kinda.
Yeah, everyone else right now, finals. I mean, everyone's studying from finals right now, so like they're taking a break, I guess, to watch this right now. But you know, I mean, you guys have a lot more free time, I think. But not you in particular, though. You in particular have a very difficult schedule to work with.
I'm flexible. I don't have free time. I'm just flexible. That's all. I make time. But in terms of shout outs, I mean, not much. Just this is for everybody. Oh, I guess shout out to my girlfriend, who may or may not be in chat. Julia, somewhere in there. I don't know. She was trash talking before, so.
Oh damn.
Sounds like. Do.
Shout out to the other alumni, and then to everybody out there watching. Good luck on your midterms. Take care of yourself and get lots of sleep and water.
Very important. Very important.
Sleep and water.
All right, Adam, any shout outs?
Yeah, of course, man. So, big shout outs to Rutgers Esports and the entire community, of course. I may have graduated, but that doesn't mean I'm still not part of the community. Still rocking the jacket, still rocking the shirt. As Alex said, it's tattooed on us. Not really. But
what are you talking about,
tattoo.
Dude?
It's real.
The inverse sleeve.
The inverse sleeve.
But anyways, so shout out to them, of course. Big shout out to Tespa for everything that they do. Really, really big fans of them, and I'm always very, very grateful for everything that they've done for me. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Adam_Baugh, Baugh with 2 M's. You can also stay tuned for when Fog of War finally does come back, the esports show with my boy Peter. We've taken a little bit of a break because we've had some personal stuff going on. We both got very, very busy, but it'll be back very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. And of course, shout out to Jonah for organizing this, for actually spearheading some content creation for Rutgers Esports. This is not something that we've excelled at in the past, but I'm very, very eager to see how it all plays out and if we continue this content creation moving forward, because I think it'll be a really, really awesome way to get the personalities of the board out, but also of the community overall, to not only the rest of the Rutgers Esports community, but the esports community. So I'm very, very excited. So big shout out to you, Jonah.
Yeah, stay tuned next week, though. I mean, next Sunday we'll be doing Kenny Small at Beanies on Twitter. We'll be doing another interview with another group of people. Since this is our first episode, we did founders. Next time we might do you might do Scarlet Smash interview with 3 Smash players. We might do competitive League of Legends players. We might do board members. We might do any variety of people. Maybe just 3 random community members. We'll just get them on here. And
that'd be fun.
Yeah, 3 random community members from different clubs, and we'll just see what there is to talk about.
Yeah, give them that preview, Jonah. That you gotta give them that next episode of Dragon Ball Z preview that makes them want to watch it. It's like that post-credit scene.
We might have some presidents, vice presidents, some directors, some content people. You'll have to stay tuned next week. Next Sunday, catch my boy Beanies on here.
Is there anyone else confirmed for that episode, Jonah?
No leaks.
Oh, okay.
No leaks.
You know, like, you'll have to tune in to find out.
Yeah, you gotta tune in next week to find out. I mean, you know, it's just one of those situations. You know, it's just like at the end credits, like, see you guys later. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
shout
we're
out
gonna
to
turn off the
Rutgers.
stream, then we're gonna come back on again and
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
see what happens.
Exactly. We'll keep talking, and then we'll pretend we're not on stream, so we can talk about other stuff, and you know.
Yeah,
go
that's
off
the
of that.
post credit scene.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, guys. So, that's the dogs. That's time to go. All
That's
right.
time.
See you guys later. Have a good day. Peace out.
Bye, bye,
Take care of yourselves.
bye.